Peace, peace, salam Allah, salam alaikum, salam, hotep, peace on these streets. I'm your brother in the struggle, Brother Minister Alif, and today we're going to decipher in the cipher who are the real aliens. Now, many of you have heard about the little green men, the men in black, and things of that nature there, you know what I mean? War of the Worlds, Independence Day. Right now there's a big hoopla about Star Wars and things of that nature there. And the conclusion is that there are literally aliens that are on Earth from either another dimension or a distant planet or from deep in the core of the Earth. There are some people that believe in reptilians, that human beings, their face can like vibrate or something and, show that they're really a reptile and things of that nature there. Those of you that seen the TV show V can see where Hollywood gets that kind of stuff from. So I would like to share with you some science, some spiritual science. Now, I want to take you from the unknown to the known, from the mystery of God to the mathematics of God. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us in his book titled Message to the Black Man about the reality of God. He opens up in the first chapter of part 1 titled Allah is God. Who is that mystery God? Let me read some excerpts from here. For thousands of years, the people who did not have the knowledge of the person or reality of God worshiped their own ideas of God. Isn't this true? Isn't this what we see happening today? So many people around the world are literally worshiping their own ideas of God. When you hear people talk about that mystery God, they put their God in the context of a supernatural being. He, she, it, they may have all types of powers, magical powers, and they do things that are contrary to universal law. That cannot be God. That cannot be the reality. There has to be a more natural, mathematical, fundamental, historical, cultural, genetic reality to this concept that we call G-O-D or G-D, God. Now, God, with all the hoopla removed, God, the name God simply means supreme being. That's what God really means, supreme being. Supreme means the highest in authority, the most powerful, the best knower. Now, being means the highest form of existence. What is the supreme being? Not what we believe. Now, we believe all kinds of things. Now you can put yourself on your own little island and say, oh, well, my God is called this. My God is part of a Trinity, or my God is named Jesus or Elohim or Yahweh or Jehovah or Allah or whatever. And I'm not trying to disrespect anyone's God, but I want you to understand that there are literally millions and billions of people in the past and the present, and most likely in the near future. There are people that have other concepts of God. Some people worship the sun, stars, the moon. Some people believe that God is Thor. Some people worship Zeus, Venus. Some people worship Isis, or Usar, or Set, Heru, Horus. Some people worship Krishna or Buddha. There are countless gods out there. There are over 4,000 religions. That's over 4,000 different gods out there. Let's take one of the universal most powerful gods that was like a dominant figure on earth, Zeus. The Greeks and Romans, once they came in contact with the people of Black Egypt, then known as Kemet, they seen that we had a spiritual science. We had a concept of God. And our gods were like unto the nature of the human being and not a ghost. So they would take and study and see, oh, they believe that the black man is God. The house of God, called the Pharaoh, became known as the individual. But actually, the man, the original man, we believe, is the Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, God of the universe. Now, when you look at Zeus, Zeus was a very, very, very powerful white god. However, in 2023, you will not find too many Europeans that still believe in Zeus. You won't find too many people today that believe in that god, or say Thor. Now, I mean, you won't find too many people worshiping Venus. Now, I mean, however, at one time, a lot of people really believed that, like they do Allah, Jehovah, Jesus, in this day and time. But what is the nature of God? Let us continue on who is that mystery God. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad goes on page number 1. He says, he has been made like many things other than what he really is. The Christians refer to God as a mystery and a spirit, and divide him into thirds. One part they call the Father, another part the Son, and the third part they call the Holy Ghost, which makes the three one. This is contrary to both nature and mathematics. The law of mathematics will not allow us to put three into one. Our nature rebels against such a belief of God being a mystery and yet the Father of a Son and a Holy Ghost without a wife, without being something in reality. We wonder, how can the Son be human and the Father a mystery, unknown, or a spirit? Who is this Holy Ghost that is classified as being the equal of the Father and the Son? The Christians do not believe in God as being a human being, yet they believe in him as being the Father of all human beings. They also refer to God as he, him, man, king, and the ruler. They teach that God sees, hears, talks, walks, stands, sits, rides, and flies, that he grieves or sorrows, and that he is interested in the affairs of human beings. They also teach that once upon a time, he made the first man like himself, in the image and likeness of himself. But yet they believe that he himself is not a man or human. They preach and prophesy of his coming and that he will be seen on the judgment day, but is not man. They cannot tell us what he looks like. Yet man is made like him and in the image of God, and yet they still say that he is a mystery, unknown. How can one teach the people to know God if he himself does not know God? Let me stop right there. It's not that you don't believe in God. The problem is you're teaching your belief as though what you believe is what you know. Knowledge and belief are different. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us we can believe that there's an airplane outside on our doorstep. But if we open up that door and look, we now know there's no airplane out there on that doorstep. The actual experience takes away the spooky stuff. We was raised up on Santa Claus teachings. We was raised up to believe in ghosts. We was lied to and told that when our family members and friends physically died, that some type of white ghost came floating out of their black bodies and shot off into the white clouds. And up there, it was with this white God, and he had long white robes and white angels, and these white angels had white feathers, and even the angels had white robes. It was just white supremacy all over the place up there. And these black people who did not receive freedom, justice, and equality while they were alive. These poor black, brown, yellow, and red people from all over the planet Earth who were colonized would somehow get heaven after they're physically dead and gone. And the real devil on Earth, the Caucasoid devil, the European devil, the pirates, the colonizer, the aliens. The aliens, family. The aliens. The white gods on Earth that stole the compass, that stole the gunpowder and made muskets and guns, that transformed wheat and barley and wine and potatoes into fiery liquor for us to drink. They would come amongst us. And when we see them coming from afar off, they came not in a mother ship, but in a other ship. They did not come in canoes or ships like the people of Egypt. They came with a distinct culture. They came wearing unique clothing. We would be amazed to see these aliens, these strange beings from a distant planet, not a planet in the sky, but a distant land right here on the face of the planet Earth. They came from a different part of the 7 continents on the earth: Asia, Africa, North America, South America, Antarctica, Australia, and Europe. They were Europeans. You means the hillsides, and rope was the rope to bind them in. These Caucasians, and I'm not talking hatred. I'm not saying that we didn't have wicked black people doing stuff, that we didn't have white abolitionists fighting against slavery. I can't ignore the contributions of people like John Brown, who gave his life and took life for the liberation of black so-called slaves, African prisoners of war. But what I'm trying to get you to understand is that the institution of racism, institutionalized racism, chattel slavery, robbing us, enslaving our brains, enslaving our minds, robbing us of the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of ourselves. When you rob a creature of the knowledge of self, if you take and raise a baby kitten, a cub inside of the zoo, inside of a carnival, inside of a circus, that creature is still by nature a feline or a lion or a panther. But because his brain has been enslaved, if you open up the cage, it won't leave. It's not cognizant of hunting and doing for itself. It can't speak its own language. It can't even roar like a free lion because it was reared up in captivity. And this is what the aliens, the Europeans do. They take and put goldfish in a bowl. They'll put the fish in a tank. They'll take a flying, beautiful bird and put it in a cage. They'll take their so-called best friend, a dog, out of the wilderness and put the dog on a leash and domesticate that dog. They literally would enslave anything. And when you hear about the Anunnaki being aliens, and these aliens coming from a distant planet and enslaving black people, making them work in the gold mines, it was nothing spooky, family. The Anunnaki still exists. The aliens are really here right now. We call the aliens the 1%. In the Nation of Islam, we refer to them as the 10%, the rich, the slave makers of the poor who teach the poor lies. To believe that the almighty, true, and living God is a spook and cannot be seen by the physical eye, otherwise known as the bloodsuckers of the poor. The bloodsuckers of the poor, family, are aliens, but they're not aliens from a magical world. They're not like the Wizard of Oz. They're not like Aladdin's genie, giving you 3 wishes. They're executing their will on earth. They're multi-billionaires that have influence over nations. Everybody can look at the 12 million square miles of Africa, Mother Africa, and all her resources. But the aliens enslaved Africa, stole the natural resource. They even stole our ancestors. They literally took the physical bodies out of graves, out of tombs, out of the earth, and put it in their museums and charge people to come see our dead ancestors. Our people been mining for gold all over the world. And the aliens, the real Anunnaki, and I'm not even going to say the real Anunnaki because they're not the real aliens, the real foreigners, the real monsters, they would do anything to get the gold from the Native American Indians. When they seen gold in their nose, gold bracelets and gold chains and anklets, they was like, yo, where you get this? When they seen that in Africa, when they seen them rubies in India, when they seen that silk in China, that's when they shifted their face and took off the mask and was like, yo, I'm really a devil. We're going to put you in hell. We're going to enslave you. We're not going to put you in hell under the ground in the magma or hot lava. We're going to put you in a hell of a condition. Hell is nothing but a condition of life, according to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Real heaven is peace of mind and contentment. Money, a medium of exchange. Money, a good home. Friendships, in all walks of life. Real heaven is peace. Real heaven is not trying to exploit the world. Real heaven is not trying to pollute the planet. Real heaven is not trying to kill the animals on the earth, kill the human beings on the earth, the humans. Hue, man, hue means color. Melanated people, black people. Black, brown, yellow, red is nothing but shades of black. The albino comes out of the black man and black woman. The Caucasian come out of the original Asian. Let us take and look at something else Messenger Elijah Muhammad said about this mystery God. He raises this question on page 2. First, let me backtrack for a minute. He says, how can one teach the people to know God if he himself does not know God? If you try teaching the Christians that God is also a human being, they will say that you are crazy, that you do not believe in God, and that you are an infidel. In the meantime, while they admit that he is a mystery God, meaning unknown, they teach not to make any likeness of him. Yet, they adorn their walls and churches with pictures, images, and statues like human beings. And we could say white human beings. Can God be a mystery God and yet send prophets to represent himself? Good question. Have the prophets been representing a God that is not known? Mystery. They tell us that they heard God's voice speaking to them in their own language. Can the spirit speak a language while being an immaterial something? If God is not material, what pleasure would he get out of material beings in the material universe? See, the universe is made of atoms. Atoms form molecules. Molecules form cells. Cells form organs. When organs come together in formation, we call that the human body. In the spiritual sense, we call it the temple. We call it the house of God. Your body is the real church. Your body is the real masjid. Our Arab brothers and sisters in the East, they too worship a mystery God for the most part. They don't worship a mystery Jesus, but they worship a mystery Allah. And when they hear us teach that Allah came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, they think that that's being sacrilege or being polytheistic or being disrespectful. We love Allah. We believe in Allah. When we say Allah, we're not talking about a ghost. We're not talking about an unknown entity. The Holy Quran teaches us in chapter 22, verse 6, in the Arabic language, Allahu ana al-haq. The God is the reality. What is reality? When we look at the universe covering 230 continuous 640 quadrillion miles, we cannot find anything in a life form other than human life forms. Now, when we look at the human life forms, we see there are Arabs and Chinese and Indians and Africans and Europeans and what have you. But when we study the culture, when we study the holy intellect, when we go to the root of the knowledge, knowledge is to listen, know, and observe. Knowledge is the foundation. Once you have your foundation, then comes wisdom. Wisdom is to make your knowledge known, the woman. And after that phase, you go to the phase of understanding. Messenger Elijah Muhammad teaches us understanding is a picture one makes in his mind of knowledge. It's based on, everything's based on this knowledge. Now, you have to take and go to the earlier stages and say, okay, what are the experiences? Yeah, we grow in our faith. We're born with certain beliefs, but we have to get to knowledge, alim. We have to get the wisdom, hakim. We have to get to understanding, alif, in order for us to understand the haq, the reality of God. Allah is the one creator of all creation. Spiritually speaking, we agree with our Sunni brothers and sisters 100% with that. We bear them witness. Allah is the creator of all creation. But you can't, on one hand, say you believe that Allah is the God, and then say you believe the God has 99 attributes, and one of those 99 attributes is al-Khaliq. Al-Khaliq means the creator. Wait a minute. If Allah is the God and the creator is simply an attribute of the God, you can't put the creator energy, you can't put that mind, you can't put that creative force over the original man. You can't put it over Allah, the God, the supreme being. The atoms come from the energy. What is this energy that can vibrate on a lower level and turn the mental into the material realm? It's holy intellect. It's consciousness. The universe is alive. Since the universe is alive, and we see the hydrogen atom can vibrate out of the immaterial realm. We may call it plasma, photons, quarks, baby atoms, whatever nomenclature or scientific terminology countless human beings come up with trying to decode this phenomena. It's nothing but cause and effect. It's nothing but actions and reactions. It's nothing but mathematics. God adds and multiplies. Satan divides and subtracts. Who is that mystery God? That is the question. If you can accept the reality of God, you'll be so close to understanding all things. But as long as they got you to believe that when they say God, you look up. When you say, where's God? You're looking all around. Oh, God, help me, help me, help me. As though there's some supernatural, magical wizard somewhere beyond the sun, moon, and stars that's care about one tiny atom of man or woman on earth. Ain't no mystery God ever came and did anything for anyone at any time. I know you believe it did. But no one can show and prove it. I know you believe that when you die, you go into heaven or hell, But your heaven and hell is on earth. You could be in hell and then go to heaven. You could be in heaven and go right back to hell. You could be in hell, go right back to heaven. Heaven and hell are nothing but conditions of your thoughts, deeds, and actions and environment and experience right here in this universe. If that sun swelled up and ate up this planet, that would be hell for us. But when that sun come up tomorrow morning and sends his rays traveling 186,000 miles per second, and that sun is 93 million miles away from you, and on this surface is 14,072 degrees hot, and the circumference or circle of that sun, and the diameter of that sun, and the radius of that sun is going to generate solar energy that's going to help germinate the seeds under the ground and the DNA in your being. We are thankful for the sun, but we don't worship the sun as a god. We appreciate that moon reflecting the sunlight at night. I just was outside tonight. It's almost a full moon out there. It's beautiful. That moon has helped keeping the water, keeping the tides at check. The planet is 71% water. That water rises up and drown us out. But our universe is so mathematically balanced with freedom, justice, and equality. We call it in ancient Egypt, Ma'at. We are thankful for that moon, 243,000 miles away from the planet Earth. But we don't worship the moon. We appreciate the stars. Alpha Centauri, 25 trillion miles away, but we don't worship the stars. We appreciate the proton, the neutron, the electron, the positive forces of the atom. We're 5%. We're the positive force. The 5% are the poor righteous teachers who do not believe in the teachings of the 10%, the negative force. And we're trying to wake you up, the 85%, the masses, the mentally dead, the neutral ones that worship that which they know not what. It's all mathematics, family. Messenger Elijah Muhammad teaches us Islam is mathematics, and mathematics is Islam. I leave you as I came with peace. As I say, I have often said for over 40 years to this date, only the messenger's message can guide you or me or we and us through this age of mess. Peace. The struggle continues.